episode of PJ and the Beard. We're going to be taking a look at a pedal from a new company. But before we get into that pedal, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel, clicking on the notification bell. Your interaction with us helps us engage people in the industry. And in this case, 23Five is our first time with them.
Yep.
And the Beard's going to tell you what we're looking at tonight.
So they sent me a message in Instagram. Said, you check out our new drive pedal. You've never seen anything like it. And of course, I thought, did I not realize how many drive pedals we've seen? Right. He was right. They were right. The Abacus, all switches. And it's actually a really neat idea because, you know, the selling point was you'll never forget what your settings are. No need to put tape on, fingernail polish,
Right.
buy the little blocks that go over your knobs. None of that. Just remember where your switches are and you're good to go. So let's talk features real quick and then we'll get into some sounds. The first row of 5 switches here is the drive. And on both the first and the second row is the volume. So on both of those rows, the first switch is equal to 4. The second 2 are equal to 2. See where the Abacus came from. And the last 2 are equal to 0. So you can get any combination of those to get you to whatever number you want. So if you want 4, you could turn on the 2 switches that are for the 2 and 2, 4. Or you could have 1 2 on and 2 1s on, 4. Or you could just have the first one on, 4. Get it?
I got it. Of course, I used one of these in school. I'm so old.
Right. So it's pretty cool. So same for volume. And the way I thought about it is, if I want to set the volume at noon, that's going to be 6. So I just need to get to some combination of switches to get to 6. If I want to get a little more than noon, I started like picturing a volume knob in my head. A little more than noon, maybe I want to go 8 or I want to go 7. Just pick the combination you need to get there. So like a 4, a 2, and a 1, we now have a volume at 7. Super simple. Looks confusing with all the switches. Super simple to do.
Right.
Then you have 3 switches down here. The first one is tone. So down position is a darker tone. Up position is a brighter tone. Second one is gain. Up is high gain. Down is low gain. Third position is your clippings. What do you call that? Clippers. Right. So down germanium. In the middle is an LED. And all the way up is silicon. So first sound. I'm going to shoot it over to Pat and let him see if he can remember.
I had to get my phone out because what we decided to do was take a picture of what I am affectionately referring to as the porcupine there. So I thought we'd give you a little single coil on that. So the Silver Sky SE in the 2 position through the Tyler JT22 through the ever-present DLS Echo Tour. I went for the brighter setting, the lower gain, and the LED. And you'll see how the settings are set there. And I tried to show what it could do by playing this.
So for my first clip, I grabbed the 2003 60s Les Paul Classic. Series parallel, right? The split sound of the neck. Thank you. I need some help here this evening. And then full bridge humbucker. So the brightness was up, and the gain was in the low gain setting, and I went to the silicone clipper there, and then you can see what I did with the volume and tone. And man, I really like this rhythm sound. It was so sweet.
my next clip, I grabbed the PRS McCarty SE that we are working with, Zounds, and have this on loan back through the Tyler, through the Echo Tour. And this time, I went with Bright again. I did high gain, and I did the Germanium bridge humbucker wide open, and played this.
Clip, I really believe that there is some of the sounds of that like tweed amp in this pedal. So it reminds me of some of those tweed style pedals we have. And so I was like, what would happen if I took the Echo Tour, brightened up the delay, lengthened up, put some extra repeats on it, went back to the Tyler, cranked the reverb way up, grabbed this SG Junior with a P90 in the back, and then I had the brightness up. I had the gain on the high gain switch. I was on the LED clipping. You can see what I did with the volume and the you can count them up.
Right. There's a math quiz, and you also went to.
Oh yeah, for the first time ever for me. You do it every now and then, but drop the actually both E strings. Drop D. Mm-hmm. Because it just it to me it has like a kind of a Neil Youngish sound. And if you watch the channel for any length of time, that creeps up for me from time to time. So it sounds a little like this. Abacus pedal, which proves that your math teacher was right. You will use these skills sometime in your future, right? It is kind of cool. We took pictures of those. If I wanted to go back to that sound, it would be a couple clicks and we're right back to where we were. I like that. I think it's pretty cool. Final thoughts?
Yeah, we said it kind of in the beginning. We first looked at it, we're like, oh boy, what do I have to have a degree in aerospace technology and work for NASA to use this? But it really is laid out pretty simply, and it gives you lots of options with your clippers, with the high gain, low gain, and the bright. Found some really great rhythm. In the outro jam, you played lead. I did not end up playing lead with that. To be quite honest, I thought for me it shined on finding rhythm tones. I couldn't quickly dial up like something for lead necessarily. It's not saying it's not in there. I'm just saying for me, it was really easy to get some very different rhythm tones pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's making me think. There's been a lot of things that have been making me think a little bit differently since we started this channel. Mm-hmm. I was always like, oh, you stack your overdrives? I do too. Here at 10 is my last gain stage. And if you roll it back, there's my second gain stage. Mm-hmm. If you roll it back, there's my first gain stage. I was a one overdrive volume knob kind of guy. And I might have more than one overdrive on the pedal board now. But still not so much for stacking. But this has...
There's a lot to it.
It has such a cool rhythm sound.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've been starting to think a little bit differently about how I would approach drives. And for me, this pedal there's probably lead tones in there that I would really like, but the rhythm sounds. If you listen to the clip I did on the Les Paul, when I took that C and held it out for 8 bars and got real soft, it cleans up just from the touch, touch sensitive. It cleans up. Then when I started digging in, you feel that dirt come in underneath. There's so much I'm digging about the rhythm sound of this. I know some people are using it. He has some people that are using it as a rhythm pedal on their boards, and I can see why. You have kind of a light overdrive in here. You have a heavy overdrive in here. It got real heavy in that last clip you did with that. Little lighter in the Les Paul clip. It could have been even lighter if I had pulled back on the drive a little bit. Super versatile. So one other thing that I was thinking about when I said I've started to think about pedals differently. We've had so many go through. Is that there are certain pedals, like no matter, we set them down and we make them sound like us.
Right.
Like it's just like you can put 13 different overdrives on here. If we dialed them in the way we liked it and played a solo over something, you'd go back, you wouldn't be able to tell which is which because we would find that spot where it's the bad monkey effect is what it is. The bad monkey effect. We try to get every pedal to sound like the way we like it to sound. There are some drive pedals that you can't do that with, that you just can't get back to your sweet spot, and where you might go, oh, well, that's not a drive pedal for me then. I'm finding that's maybe exactly the drive pedal for you because it makes you get out of your comfort zone, but it also adds a new tone to your palette that you maybe wouldn't get otherwise. So this, with that tweed sound that it has in there, I think falls into that category. If you have your rhythm sounds, this might be a really interesting new rhythm sound. That's what I've been trying to get at for a while. All right. So with that, anything else to add?
No, it was great to be able to try it out. It would have been something that I might not have gone after. But now that it's here, I'm like, okay.
Got it. Yeah, because anything with more than a couple switches on it.
And I was terrible at math. I may or may not have walked across my college stage with an empty diploma cover because I might have failed a statistics class. Just saying.
So, with that wonderful news.
Because I didn't have an abacus, I would have done so much better.
Right? We just appreciate everybody taking the time to watch. If you hit the subscribe button, click notification bell, leave a comment down below. That's great. That really helps us out. Like Pat said in the beginning, anytime you interact with the show, it's what helps us make connections like this one with 23Five pedals. And we really appreciate that. And that allows us to bring cool gear to share with you. And with that,
PJ, on behalf of the Beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear.